Star Trek hasn't just turned out some fairly impressive acting talent over the years, it's also turned out some fairly impressive directing talent. Thanks to the production, several of the people who appeared in front of the camera moved to test their skills behind the camera across all of the different iterations. This list is going to take you through just 10 examples of those who have successfully made the change. I'm Sean Ferrick for Trek Culture, and here are 10 Star Trek actors who became directors. Number 10. René Auberjonois. Though audiences would know him best as Odo, René Auberjonois also directed 8 episodes of Deep Space Nine. The first episode, Profit Motive, would prove to be a challenge for him. He remarked that it was like leading an army into battle, as there were relentless questions that needed answering. He quipped that this, and making decisions, were things he truly didn't enjoy doing. His catalogue would include some of the all-time great episodes like Waltz, but also Let He Who Is Without Sin. Unfortunately, this episode ranks among the lowest of the series. To be very fair, this was an episode that faced numerous behind-the-scenes issues. One such example was that Terry Farrell required a tent between shoots as she couldn't be in direct sunlight for too long. The production had forgotten to source one, so Auberjonois himself had to chase one down. Another issue was that the location scouted was covered by spiny tackburs, a plant with thorns that easily poked through skin, hardly a fun addition to a beach shoot. Despite the challenges, Auberjonois would direct episodes all the way into the 7th season, ending with Strange Bedfellows. Number 9. Patrick Stewart. Patrick Stewart's first go behind the camera was in the 5th season of The Next Generation. In Theory is a relatively simple episode, with a starring turn from Brent Spiner and guest actor Michelle Scarabelli as Jenna DeSora. Though another data-centric episode, A Fistful of Datas, may be the more iconic episode, it's this one that Stewart chose as his favourite overall. Stewart recalled being grateful that the episode was close to a bottle show, featuring scenes on the ship only. There were no shoot-em-ups or scenes on Kronos, which made life much easier for the newbie director. He was also incredibly grateful that Spiner was the focus of the episode, as he felt the man was both strong enough to carry the episode easily, but was also very open to Stewart's direction. He would go on to direct other episodes like Hero Worship and Phantasms, but the aforementioned Datas and the penultimate episode, Preemptive Strike, stand out the most. Imposters, the recent episode of Picard's 3rd season, picks up beautifully from those final scenes of Preemptive Strike, giving the audience a payoff from Stewart's direction 30 years in the making. Number 8. Gates McFadden. Gates McFadden was the first female Trek actor to direct an episode of the franchise, namely Genesis. McFadden took a back seat when it came to acting. Dr. Crusher is sprayed in the face with acid early in the script, so that she could concentrate on making everything come together. And then an earthquake shut down production. The 1994 Northridge earthquake occurred right in the middle of filming and saw 57 deaths along with billions of dollars of damage. This was only another challenge for McFadden and her team to overcome. The production schedule, which saw this being filmed after the holidays that year, was, ironically, a blessing, at least from Michael Westmore's point of view. The episode is heavy on prosthetics, so Westmore's team were able to work through the time off, to hit their deadlines. The end result is one of the sillier Trek outings, but it's also iconic in its own right. Whether it was McFadden's skill as a director, or as a choreographer, and former Jim Henson puppeteer that served the episode best is anyone's guess. All we can be really sure of is that the Spider Barkley scared the absolute webbing out of all of us. Number 7. Alexander Siddig. Alexander Siddig directed 2 episodes of Deep Space Nine, the 5th season's Business as Usual, and then the 6th season's poorly received Profit and Lace. For his first outing, Siddig was tasked with 2 big guest stars, Lawrence Tierney and Steven Berkoff. On a recent episode of the Clone Star Pod, Siddig revealed a massive curveball that had been thrown his way during filming. One morning, in the makeup chair, Tierney suffered a stroke. He was thankfully rushed to the hospital and was able to then come back and film his scene, but even that came with its challenges. For the second episode, the reception was not kind. The script for Profit and Lace was a little mixed in terms of tone, so production went with a comedic angle. Unfortunately, it turned a ho-hum story into something downright offensive, making it not only a missed opportunity for all concerned, but contributed to there being far fewer Ferengi-centric episodes for the show's remaining run. Number 6. William Shatner. Star Trek V is infamous in many ways, with much of the ridicule directed toward William Shatner as director. While there's certainly some fair criticisms to make, one must take the timing of production as well as the budget into account. To start with two massive positives, Shatner managed to get Jerry Goldsmith to return to score the film, his first Trek outing since the motion picture. Second, the film contains the best scenes of the trio from the entire franchise. Who hasn't attempted to toast a marshmallow at this point? With ILM busy on The Last Crusade, the effects were shopped out to cheaper companies, and it shows. The film's climax is also slightly rushed owing to the budget and, honestly, the design of Shatner's rock monsters just ballooning. In the end, The Final Frontier is certainly one of the weakest Trek films, with some of the more melodramatic moments contributing to this. Though this would spell the end of Shatner's directing career, at least in Star Trek, is it truly that bad? Perhaps time will tell. Number 5. Avery Brooks. When it comes to literally anything, Avery Brooks brings 110%. As positive as this sounds, it can also be intimidating, with several of the people who worked under him attesting to it. Terry Farrell, when discussing his acting skills, would comment that she found it a challenge to match him in their scenes, though he graciously matched her energy. Behind the camera, it would be no different. When making his directorial debut on Tribunal, he got into a discussion with his assistant BC Cameron. Cameron recalled that he invited her to the set of Quark's Bar, which was in darkness at the time, and said with a grin, "I want you to make sure I get what I need." There followed an exchange that culminated in Cameron informing Brooks that she wasn't sure he had a sense of humour, and that he needed to be clearer with his instructions, after which their relationship improved dramatically. Brooks would go on to direct several more episodes, including Far Beyond the Stars. While filming Benny Russell's Breakdown, Brooks was so lost in the moment that he forgot to call cut. The actors around him let the scene play out, as they weren't sure whether to interrupt or not. The result is clear in the finished episode, with both the starring turn and the direction offering some of Brooks's finest work. Number 4. Leonard Nimoy. Leonard Nimoy's journey to the director's chair is rather intriguing, especially as it very nearly didn't happen. While filming The Wrath of Khan, an urban legend surrounding the actor began to creep along, namely that he demanded to be killed off so he could escape Star Trek. When production on The Search for Spock was being organised, Nimoy waited for some time for Michael Eisner, then head of Paramount Studios, to get back to him about the job of director. When the meeting eventually took place, Eisner was adamant that Nimoy shouldn't get the job, based on the aforementioned rumour. Nimoy was a little shocked, but he was happy to debunk the idea that he hated Star Trek. The ink was quickly dried on the contract and he took over the reins. He would of course direct the following film as well, The Voyage Home, which performed so well that Paramount decided to attempt another live-action series. Now, if only that had taken off, who knows what Star Trek might have become. Number 3. LeVar Burton. LeVar Burton made his directorial debut with Second Chances, working title, Too Many Rikers. He recalled that, it being so effect-heavy, it was a real baptism of fire. The show worked brilliantly, not least for how it handled both Rikers, but also in Burton's chance to cast Dr. Mae Jemison in the cameo role. Dr. Jemison was the first female African-American in space, something to which she credited Nichelle Nichols. Burton invited Nichols to set during filming, leading to what he called magic. From this, Burton would go on to direct another 28 episodes of Star Trek, including many of the Klingon-centric ones. J.G. Hertzler recalled being especially pleased that, in the Burton-directed Soldiers of the Empire, he was given a zoom-in, engage shot, something guest performers rarely got to experience in Star Trek. Burton would cameo in one of his own episodes, namely Timeless, Voyager's 100th episode. It took a little convincing at that point, but it made for a special moment for fans of the franchise. His final credit, to date, is the first part of Star Trek Enterprise's de facto finale, Demons. Number 2. Roxann Dawson. Roxann Dawson may be best known these days as a director. She's certainly prolific in her body of work, including on Apple TV's Foundation series. However, it was back in Voyager's 6th season episode, Riddles, wherein she got her start behind the camera. She recalled directing the episode as both a challenge but a wonderful experience. She was helped by her existing relationship with her co-stars, and she credits Marvin Rush, the director of photography, as to helping to truly create her vision. She later laughed that, as she has become more experienced, she may have made many different choices, so she was glad to go into that episode green. Dawson would go on to direct many episodes of Star Trek Enterprise as well, while also lending her voice to the chilling repair station in Dead Stop. Number 1. Jonathan Frakes. Jonathan Frakes is perhaps the best known actor turned director in Star Trek. He began his directing career with The Offspring from The Next Generation's third season, and has directed episodes in almost every iteration of the franchise ever since. His work on First Contact and Insurrection had audiences hoping he would direct some more of the films, though this has yet to come to fruition. The running joke for the actor-director is that he gets things done, leading to the nickname Two Takes Frakes. In an industry where every second costs money, that's no mean feat. He was the first legacy actor to return to Star Trek, technically, when he directed Discovery. His appearance in Picard's first season, along with Marina Sirtis, marked his return to live-action acting after years away from being in front of the camera. Frakes is a fan favourite when it comes to directing, which has led for Cries to give him an EP role in the franchise as well. Whether this happens or not, he certainly seems to be one of, if not the, go-to alumni when it comes to directing Star Trek. Now, if we can just get that damn Legacy show confirmed, let's see how many of those episodes we can ask him to direct as well. That is everything for this list. Obviously, we could fill another list easily with this, so let us know if you would like to see 10 more Star Trek actors who became directors. In the meantime, thank you so much. Make sure you check us out over on Twitter at Trek Culture. Make sure that you're following us on Instagram at Trek Culture YT and Blue Sky at Trek Culture as well. I am Sean Ferrick at Trek Culture on the various socials, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You are awesome, you are wonderful, you are lovely. You're just lovely. Live long and prosper. Thanks a million.